Good morning, Higher Hope. This is Tuesday, May 26th. I want to kind of jump back to yesterday a little bit and this idea of Memorial Day and just that term, and then just what we're supposed to remember. And Memorial Day is the base of that word is memory, to remember. And actually, that's a huge thought in Scripture. Throughout all of the Old Testament into the New Testament, that idea of God reminding his people about who he is and what he's done. He constantly remembers, tells the Israelites, set up these stones to remember, name this place to remember. And he actually tells them in the Pentateuch, in the first five books, don't forget what I've done for you. Don't drift away from that. And so he'd set up the Passover and festivals and holidays and places to mark certain events so that we can remember. Then in the New Testament, we get to the last night of Jesus' life, and he wants them to remember who he is and what he's done for them. And so he gives them what they need to remember him by. Every time that you eat this bread and every time that you drink this cup, remember me. And so we although we have incredible memory and our brain is incredibly powerful, we have a tendency to forget, a tendency to drift, a tendency to move away. And so as we look at Memorial Day yesterday, there's a few things I want you to remember. One is just the the country that we live in. In the midst of, I know there's some frustration and some just struggle with what some of the things that are happening culturally and with the pandemic, and we live in a place where we live in a beautiful created country. We live in a place where we can choose a lot of jobs or places to live. We live in freedom. We live in a place that has a lot of we're gifted, we're blessed. And so and that blessing has come through people who have served and lost their life. You think about some of the wars that we have, our nation has been through, and the, the number of people that have lined up across from each other and fired a gun or had a gun fired at them, or landing at a certain beach, or just crossing a field that they knew that their friend to their left or their right or to them will not make it through, and yet they still did it. And we remember them. We remember their sacrifice, their willingness to go into places that are dangerous, and go into places where they could lose their life. And there have been many people, many relatives of some of you, many just people in our community over the years who have lost their life in service of our country, and we want to remember them, and not forget what they have done, not to forget what they have bought us through their sacrifice of their life. And so we want to remember, and we also want to remember what Christ has done for us. That he also has gone a very similar journey. He gave up his life for us, and so that we can have freedom from sin, freedom from death, freedom from just that we can experience joy and peace again. And I want us to remember. One of the ways we can do that is to tell stories. Tell stories about people who have served. Ask people who have served to tell them their stories, what they feel comfortable sharing, and some of the memories they have, and training, and just and then also just going to the places where we've set up different memorials. And I know this is a time in our life where we may not be able to go places we want to go to sometimes, but there are a lot of memorials that we can go and just kind of remember what people have done for this country. And then I really do hope it points us back to Jesus and worship him and the greatest sacrifice that he's made for us. So to remember.